figured we would just get started this time. I think that some of my YouTube recordings have a bit too long of the we're starting our stream thing. But yeah, so I'm back, and today I think we're going to be doing some sound design. Not with the focus of making a track this time, but more with the focus of let's see how many different sounds I can come up with, or sequences of those sounds or things like that. And then I want to record them as samples because I want to see how much more of a sample library I can build up, especially with respect to what we've been going through with that the previous live set that I did of eventually I ran out of modules, and therefore you can't really make any new sounds without really complicated patching of presets and things like that. So I want to see if I can make some cool sounds, record them, and then it's very easy to switch what sounds are being played through through the assimilator. So yeah, I also have some other very exciting news, which is that the thing that goes in this slot, the TET, has finally shipped. It only took, I ordered it in early December, 2 months to go from Vancouver to the prairies where I live. 2 months. I'm not bitter about that at all, but you know what? It's finally going to get here. That's excellent. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and expect a, considering how complex it is, expect a in-depth stream on that, but not, I'm not going to do an exploratory one as I've done before. I'm going to do I've read the manual, I've played around with this, I know how it works. Here, let me show you how it works version of it instead, because it is crazy. So, for sounds this time around, what I wanted to actually start with was, there is, if you don't know about this, there is a mode on Clouds. Let's see if I can get this zoomed in so you can see. There we go. So there is a mode on Cloud's Parasites, which is called Resonator. It's a 4-part resonator, which is kind of unique because it's not much, rings, you can have the polyphony on it, but the interesting thing with Resonator is the ability to sort of make it almost sound like someone is playing a guitar chord in a way, like a strummed effect. So I want to try this out some more because I know that I've used this in the past and it's been interesting, but I haven't really investigated it enough. So let's get this going. So first we need Clouds in that mode. So I'm just going to pull up my little cheat sheet as always. So if we want Clouds in that mode, we need to set it to, it's the mode where 3 are lit and 1 is not, that mode. That's Resonator mode. So, and then we have to send it something to, hey there, Ian, good to see you. Thanks for dropping by. We're just doing some sound design today, that is the idea. See how many different things we can come up with and record for later usage. So we're using Resonator mode in Clouds right now, which is a 4-part resonator, which we need to excite with something. So first, let's just make sure that we have all of the parameters turned down so that we're not biasing initial sound, at least. No, not well. I mean, I guess with this one, kind of, yeah, because Resonator has this sort of mode where it strums the resonators, and it sort of makes it almost sound like a guitar chord, sort of, in a way. I want to give this a shot and see if I can come up with anything interesting from that. So in order to do that, like I said, we need something to resonate this with. So I think that I will just use some noise to do that. That's probably the simplest way. I just want to make sure that This is what I think it is. Should just be white noise out. Yeah, do I want white or pink? I think white. We'll try white noise. So we're going to do white noise through a VCA. And we're going to trigger it with an envelope. We'll use stages. Just a really, really simple envelope. And we'll just trigger it from a tetrapad for now. We'll come out, go into CV. Obviously not quite that long of one. We want it to be relatively fast attack and decay, so C, and then we'll come out of that. We'll go into clouds, and then we'll come out of clouds in stereo, since we have the room. Oh, I realize you can't see what I'm doing down here. Here we go. All right. So this should be just unaffected white noise this time. Oh, actually it is affected. I wonder if it only comes out in... Definitely one-sided here. I'm going to get the volume up just a minute. So that you can hear. Okay. So it's very one-sided, but I think there must be something about the resonator again where it only comes out of one side for one voice or something like that. So oh, I've got to remember, because if you look at the quick thing, it's got the original clouds knobs, and I always forget which ones those correspond to on the microburst. If I look at the granular processor, that will tell me position, size, pitch, density, texture, blend. So position is the timbre or duration of noise. Let's just get this being triggered by a clock here. So position is timbre. Actually, right now, well, no, we don't need it to be a duration. That's position, really. Yeah, that was position. Okay, well, it doesn't seem making that much of a difference right now, so we'll see in a minute. Chord is size. I don't want it panned hard left, no. I'm gonna stereoize this in a minute. Which is, I believe, this one. Nope, not that one. This one. There we go. Don't give it quite that much stereo depth. I still want it on both sides for the moment, but I'll turn this down. I feel like it's clipping just a little bit. Okay, so that chord thing is interesting, which is this control. This is where I think the strumming comes in, as I recall, which is that you set the chord, which is the 4 voices that are going to get played, and then of course you can control it with volt per octave, and then you turn on this, I believe they call it scatter in here, and scatter is what makes it play like a chord. So let's just, without messing around with anything else, let's turn that on and see what we get. This should maybe be scatter. That's the random modulation of comb time. This one. Maybe. idea, but it's not doing exactly what I remember here. Let's just... I could, yes. It is true. That would be an interesting thing, but let's just see what we can get out of just this first. Density is the decay, so let's turn the decay down. This is the low pass band pass filter that I'm adjusting here right now, the texture. And then chord is size, position is timbre, so let's just... Still not quite getting that sum, and I remember what I'm doing wrong as a result. This is stereo. Wait, that's stereo. And actually, this is random modulation of comb time. Keep hitting my light. Yeah, we don't necessarily really want that. And this is harmonics. Yeah, that's not really what we want either. Vocal octave is, of course, pitch. Let's make sure that we like play a C into this. We're gonna start a new project here. Maybe. I actually haven't created a new project on the vector sequencer, which is kind of funny. Well, whatever. I'll overwrite parts. It's not a big deal. Let's just make one of these a single one length. And C3, sure. This is part 2. So... yeah, okay. This is sort of more like, I seem to remember being able to get a full-on strummed chord, but compared to off is definitely like all at once, right? And loud. Sorry. Oh, really loud. You add in a little bit. And you get a bit more of like a strumming of a few notes at once, so. It's a nice chord. Okay. Interesting to me that position for the timbre control seems to do very little. see if there's any more detail, because there might be on that site about how the chords work. Right, each input feeds one of the two voices or resonators, which decay is controlled with a density knob, yeah. Pitch of the resonators controlled with a pitch level per octave, yep. Each voice is 4 parts, which can be set to different pitches from chord. Size was the knob. Borrowed from braids, unison, detuned, fifth, etc. Okay, well, I guess I'll have to look up braids' chord mode. Can each resonator voice be triggered separately? Well, I mean, what I could try here is I can multi out the noise and trigger it with a different gate and send it into right, and that might actually do it, because it's not actually being triggered by clouds, of course, right? Clouds is just resonating the incoming signal. How that says here, up to now in the second voice, each time a trig is received, the module switches the active voice, therefore you can get duophony. Okay. Let's just see about what it's talking about there with using the trig. We'll just pick some other trigger. Let's use marbles, for instance. There we go. So part of that is more what I wanted. I mean, it sounds more like a harp than a guitar right now, but that's okay. It's still cool. It's still... So it might actually be more worth it to not actually send anything in for resonating and just use, like, similar to what you do with rings, just use its own built-in. Okay, so let's steal the triggers from this so that we don't. Okay. Turn this up a bit so it's a little bit faster. Now let's mess around with this chord spacing again. Yeah, I will. I just want to see how much of a strum effect I can get. Because after a certain point, I think it starts going like random. Like here, you can hear it's not, like it's still played, but it's played badly. It's true, it does add a human element, you're right. I just want, like, subtle human element, not doesn't know how to play their instrument human elements. Sort of closer. Okay, so let's shape this a bit more then. So we've got the texture now, which, or the position rather, which now makes a significant difference to the sound. There's an interesting one at the end there. Just turn off the filter, it's easier to hear. Kind of like it back towards, if we filter it a bit maybe. Oh, weird. There's a, Sounds like a muted guitar. A little bit. It's interesting. This sounds higher register sounds harp-like, lower register sounds guitar-like. Definitely has infinite decay if you let it. Yeah, I like this too. It sounds much closer to natural than you can typically get out of synths. It's funny, I had completely forgotten that this mode existed on clouds, but then just before this I was thinking about, okay, so what am I going to do? Because I want to do something different. I don't want to just use rings like I always do. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember some sort of weird chord thing in clouds. So a low pass filter, yeah. What is the filter mode that is on the left of this right now? It does have, this is a low pass filter here, so. It has no filtering. If you add too much, it starts to sound like more like a nylon string guitar to me. Which I guess makes sense, because like nylon versus metal strings have much more like high harmonics, I think, if I remember properly. Too far and it's I don't know, I think somewhere around there sort of sounds good to me. Sounds more like, it's interesting because you adjust the blend within a certain range and you can get like a strummed chord versus a like here's a like a, or not a strummed chord, a closer to like a plucked chord, not quite, but, and then here-ish you kind of get more like an actual like played chord. It's too bad. If I could get it to go like in reverse somehow, then you'd get the up and down effect. That would have been cool. Okay, let me just pull some of these cables I'm not using now, just to make this simpler. Subtle delay to put over that. Yes, however, I want to capture this sound as something that I can play back as a sample, so I don't want to put too many effects on it, just because, especially if you have effects that have too long of a tail, you're more likely to get pops in like playing it on a loop or things like that, so. But, out of like sheer curiosity, let's just try. We'll use an aux send out to the Milky Way. That'll be the best way to get as subtle a delay as possible. Which one is out is here. reverb. I believe this is a tape delay, I think. But I have to adjust a whole bunch of things, obviously. Yeah, I could see how this could be interesting. It'd take a lot more tweaking, but alright, let's just turn that off for now. Okay, so I gotta figure out what chord of a roomy stereo delay in that. Okay. Yeah, I could probably find something in the Rainmaker. Let me get this set into a nice like major chord first, recorded so I can play it out through the simulator, and then we'll see how else we can affect this. So I gotta figure out how this chord thing works. So it's said in there that it's braids. So if I look up braids manual, I ought to be able to figure out how this chord setting works. Jeez, this is a huge manual, holy cow. I've never owned braids. I understand it being the precursor to plaits in a way. Okay. Where is the chord mode? Ring. Swarm mode. Chrome filters. Circuit bent stuff. Sync, vowel sounds, additive synthesis, string synthesis. That's quite a crazy module, actually. No worries. I appreciate you dropping by regardless. It's always good to have someone to chat to about this stuff while I'm doing it, so. Okay, yeah, I don't think I'm going to find this very easily, apparently. What else with mutable instruments uses chords? Plaits has a chord mode, so actually maybe Plaits will have the same setup. Let's just see. If that's correct, then this is the way that it should be going. So, if we go all the way, this should be a major chord right now. It should be octaves. Not quite the same. This would be a minor ninth, apparently. Let's just see. Alright, so this should be major. Nah, it's not quite the same. Let's see if we can at least get a minor chord out of it. It's not the same. It's not the same. That's annoying. All right, I'm gonna have to look into that more, but I'm pretty sure, to my ear, that's a major chord. So, let's record this. Now, do I actually want this in stereo is actually another good question. Because I might not. And I think yeah, I think I'm gonna not want it in stereo, so let's... Why is it so quiet? Now it's... So when it's not stereo, made stereo, it actually alternates the voices, so I better have this be in stereo. Okay, not the end of the world. Let's plug this into here. And we'll have our trigger down here. Okay, so we got an empty setup in a simulator right now. Just see it. So we need to go into sampling setup. Destination will be, we'll just take channel 1. Zone 1 is fine. Just once recording is also fine. Sampling time, we're gonna trigger this perhaps. A good sampling rate. And safety, the threshold is coming from 8C, which must mean we're, yeah, we want a stereo recording. Right, we'll melt out this trigger for a moment to make it easier to trigger the recording, hopefully. It's going into 8C. Okay, so interesting that it didn't stop recording though. Oh, right, because it actually needs 2 triggers, a start and a stop. Okay, well, let's see what we got out of it first, and then if we adjust the sample lengths and stuff like that, we might be okay. Not bad. Let's see about the sample end and stuff like that though, because that was... Yeah, there we go. There's a period of empty space in here, which is what we need. Probably can't see, sorry. Just adjusting the sample length. That's pretty good. Okay. So, let's start triggering that from here. Our little test trigger. It definitely needs to be one shot. Perfect, no pops. Thanks for dropping by. Have a good one. Okay, so we got a chord, it's recorded, that's awesome. Now, let's see a little bit about Ainan's suggestion there of making it a little more roomy with a delay. So let's see what Rainmaker's got to offer us in that respect. Apparently need to tighten some of my This is obviously not the answer. Okay. It does. I was hoping slapback might actually give us something, but it's not quite it. There are some other presets in here that could be useful. Maybe not. All right, let's instead use what we were going to do, which was through the endorphins, because I feel like there are a few more subtle reverbs that would help there. So we're on channel 7. Let's go start. So we want this to be full wet. So that I can remember which setting is which. Also actually send volt per octave. Take the pitch out of microbursts. Drop it in CVA. And we just need to set this up. So pitch. Yeah, 0.5 is 1 volt per octave. So liking that. Alright, so, but we're not going to use the delay mode. We're going to see about some of the reverbs. It's Hall, Shimmer, Stereo Room reverb. Secondary mode now, which is the stereo speed, which won't really matter in this case because we're just using this mono anyway. But might do better as a through effect rather than a send, but I'm not sure. Does give it a little bit more room, so I like that. That was a good suggestion. Thanks for that if you watch this later, Anon. Not something, again, that I would most likely record into a sample just because the tail on this might get a little long. And it might might cause some popping, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, okay, so this is something good that would be a bass starting point, especially considering now that we can pitch it and still keep a major chord, which is nice. Quite interesting, very low. Actually. Interesting, it picks up a click on the low registers. Alright, anyway. So that's one sound. What else? So we could of course modulate the level on this. What else could we do with this if we want to do something interesting? No bed depth. Let's just leave that alone. Reverse is interesting because I'm not sure that it doesn't play from the loop end or something like that. Does splice smoothing help with the... Yeah, that does actually help with the click, so leave that on. What does this sound like with a played infrequently with the really long reverb? As quite nice through the pre-fader into a massive reverb thanks to the 2HP Verb. Still don't think I'd capture it necessarily as a recording, but that's good to know. Okay, so I'll have to go back in later and edit the names of these samples, but let's see what else we can create here as an interesting sound. So we'll leave most of this stuff hooked up as it is for now, although we'll take the microburst out. So let's see. Where do I want to start with this? Maybe last time we were looking at the Platts in its like not vocoder mode, but its weird robot voices mode. Let's see if we can get anything interesting sounding out of that. Let's not do that. Oops, there to here. Obviously we need some volt per octave to this because it's tuned really low. We'll take track 1, why not? This, or part 1. One of these days, I'm going to call it parts instead of tracks constantly.
Violet, violet, violet.
Is that saying violence?
Violet.
It certainly sounds like it. My Platz is possessed. I know there's a bunch of different like sets of phrases that are in this mode. Let's bring them up here. Yeah, so this is species on the timbre control. This one here is the phoneme or word segment, and this is the formants or SAM or LPC, which I think is the set of voices. So let's just
violet, violet, blue, green, yellow, red, red,
yeah, so
red,
red,
orange,
orange,
yellow,
yellow,
green,
green,
blue,
blue,
indigo,
indigo.
violet,
Ah, it's violet, not violence. That's funny.
violet, violet.
Okay, so this is colors, obviously.
Zero, zero, one, one, two, three, five, five, six, eight, nine, nine, 10, 10.
All right, numbers. Letters.
Alpha, Alpha, Bravo, Echo, Fox, India,
Yeah, the
Kilo,
aviation version of letters.
Tango, analog, 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 clock, digital, electronic, frequency, knob, operator, sequencer, synthesizer, voltage.
A bunch of synthesizer words. That's hilarious. They put that in there.
Voltage.
This is just the controllable formant sound.
Indigo.
And then we're back to colors. Okay, so we got like colors, letters, aviation versions of letters, numbers, and random synthesizer words. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so obviously taking this straight out of here.
Green, 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 green.
All right, let's just go into, stop this running. Go into
Green, 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 yellow, yellow, orange, 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 orange.
okay, so something a little interesting, but taking this raw, like I said, is probably not going to be great. So let's put this through something. What should we try? I'm just going to look at the endorphins things again. Let's try the overdrive. I've had fun with that before. It's probably going to be intense, but we'll see. Sure the gain's down.
Orange, orange,
That's weird in the reverb.
orange, 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 yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, violet, blue, blue.
feels like it's breaking up a little bit, but it's interesting how that whatever mode it's in right now, which I think is, yeah, is the stereo room reverb, actually makes it sound more human. Okay, so we want the other bank, and we want this. Now, let's try not to blow anyone's eardrums out. Don't think distortion's going to do it for me on making a sound out of this. What else we got? Freezer looper's not going to be too great. What about gated reverb? Gated reverb. Of course, we would need to actually gate it, but I actually really want to like mangle this more than anything. I don't want it to be recognizable as what it is, so let's throw it through rings. We'll just resonate it, see what we get. Since I've been having so much success with that lately. Alright, so in here for now. Sort of more what I was looking for. But then it was a little too piercing. And surprisingly, the dampening lasts forever. Not quite as mangling as I wanted, so let's not do that. Let's see. Well, Rainmaker is always a decent option to perform some mangling on some of its settings. So let's see. Make sure it's not going anywhere. All right. Interesting. Weird. Not really. I'm going to have it full wet because I don't want the original sound at all. I just want to hear what kind of interesting mangling we can get with this. Whoa. All right, I'm gonna put in just throw a little LFO into the morph so that we can at least get some different. Whoa. What? Weird. That's a creepy one. That's what it is. Whoa. You can definitely tell that some of these presets are made by Richard Devine. Got some cool random stuff in here. Oof. If I could capture just one of those, that's actually pretty interesting. So let's see if that is indeed possible. Okay, so we need sampling. Oop, I need longer cables for sampling. Left is this one. Let's get them the right way around at least. Okay. Now we're going to sample into channel 3. Still got 8C, which is the top one. So this is our... So I don't think I really want that, actually. I want the threshold to be in actual value here so that it starts and hopefully goes. So let's see if we can get it to record something that works. No, that actually wasn't enough. Wasn't low enough on the threshold. Go actually quite low because there's not any noise in here right now. Yeah, it needs to be lower even. By the way, in between, I'm just hitting the clear button on the Rainmaker, which clears out sort of the buffers and prevents like it continuing to ring out. Okay, so like all the way down now. All right, let's hear this. Let's see if we caught something that works from a clicking perspective or not. This would be 3 and 4 now. If I can plug things in properly. Okay, so channel select. We got 3 and 4. So we need to cut that sample at a point here. Don't want it to start up again. Okay, that's pretty decent. So make sure it's in one-shot mode. Envelope's fine for now, but let's see what we can do with this sound now. We're gonna start triggering it. Oh, whoops, that was the LFO to that. Well, whatever. We'll take that out anyway. We're gonna trigger, which means we need a long cable. Trigger 3 and 4. Still think it might have gone a little bit too far, but anyway. Okay, so let's mangle this even further then. We'll go let's go through the endorphins now. Especially considering we can go in stereo. Pull this for now. We already actually no. Yeah, where were we hearing that? Probably just in the mix. So let's take these. We don't want them anymore, actually. Getting confused. So the mix comes out. So wait a second. Well, for now, we can just take the mix, drop it into here. When we were playing, if or when we were playing multiple samples, obviously this wouldn't be exactly what I want to do, but oh, helps if I don't mute it. Well, it's nice with reverb. What's that weird end thing? Oh, was that we're still triggering the drum. Whoops. Where are we triggering this from? That, right. Let's just pull it. So we don't get the strum in there too. Okay. It is nice through there, but I think it needs filtering. Let's go out into Squawk Dirty to me first. We might even end up re-recording this as another sample in its filtered form. We'll see. Oh, these are a little long, but okay. All right, we don't want the comb resonator filter. We probably just want a bass kind of. This can make a nice pad. I'm gonna try a different reverb mode though. Hard for me to get in here. Yeah, okay. So I want to try this with Shimmer. Shimmer is the second second bright light, which we're already on. Nice. Okay, so and then shimmers modes again that we can modify. So are we on primary or secondary mode right now? Now we're on secondary mode. Primary mode is the decay. And secondary mode is the amount of pitch of shimmers that have shifted into the decay. Very little. It's a very, very nice sound. I feel like I should high pass filter it. It's really airy sounding, I like it. Technically, we could also record this. It does have a long tail, but it does drop off to nothing. There's no infinite decay on it, so if we can time it right, it would work. Very interesting. Curious of, no, we're not. Oh, we're also sending it to a secondary reverb though, so hold on. A little less good, actually. Having the 2 HP verb in the way is actually really great. Oh well. Even as it exists there, it is a nice sound. I just wanted to try one other thing that I haven't tried yet, which is taking one of the aux outs, sending it out through our pedal out that you can't really see out here, but and trying a couple pedals as an aux send for this. I'm just curious. So let's do that. So this needs to be fully wet. Still have the super ego hooked up. All right, the one I wanted to try was this guy, the micropog that I have, that just gives you a sub octave and an octave up, which can make for some interestingness. I am, by the way, beginning to feel, I'm not 100% convinced yet, but I'm beginning to feel like I may at some point actually cut down on rack effects except for the Rainmaker, because the Rainmaker is unique. There's no pedal that can do the Rainmaker, but there's pedals that can do the Milky Way. There's literally a pedal version of the Lo-Fi Junkie. It was the original. And it might save me some HP because I don't commonly, well, I mean, I think I've said this before, with the Lo-Fi Junkie, I've never sent CV into that, I think, ever. It's just an in and out for me. We've sometimes used it with the Milky Way to do things like synchronizing delays, but there are pedals that can also take CV. So we'll see. I think I need to get my hands and to find some friends that have some pedals that I can get my hands on and try out. Or hell, even abuse the return policies of certain stores here. Go buy a pedal, try it, see what I could do with it, return it, try another one. Well, they might get mad at me pretty quick. Anyway, okay, so we've got that on the aux end. That's on aux 1. Jeez. I have really got to figure out a better solution for this. So we'll keep the sub-octave and the octave up off, and we'll keep the dry signal off so that we don't get anything yet. So out is going. Just make sure we've got this set up. Oh, I don't have it sending to anything. That would do it. Okay, so we should be able to fade in the octave up. I'm not hearing it. All right, channel 7, we're on aux 1, which goes out into the in, and then goes out into the in. It's being sent post fader. Need to give it more gain. Okay, you can actually hear the difference if I unmute and mute aux 1. Like, not that interesting though. Let's turn the sub octave all the way up and see. Yeah, that's not that great. Okay. What else have I got for pedals that we could try? We could certainly try the Ibanez, the Tube Screamer. Which I still find funny I still kept this, considering I don't do anything like that anymore, but we had found some cool distortion previously, so... Of course, it's going to get a little noisy, but... Ooh, sorry. Blow out your eardrums. It's actually kind of interesting with a little bit of that. That's it off. Doesn't necessarily do the greatest as an aux send, but... Yeah, because I think most of the breakup sound we're actually getting is not the pedal distorting, but the inputs and outputs of the performance mixer distorting more than anything else. Yeah, okay. If I use the Super Eco as a send, I've never tried that. The only problem is it will sustain forever if given the opportunity, but I don't know, let's see. We put it in auto mode. That's not enough in auto mode to actually pick it up. Oh, picked up something interesting there, actually. Let's give it a bit more accent. try an auto mode again. Not quite enough level. Now, I think the Super Ego looks for like snappy sounds to grab onto. But it was interesting when it was latched. Till it breaks up. I'm gonna try playing this sample in reverse. It's interesting, but not as interesting as I might have thought. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to press that button. I have my pedal resting on it. Trying to turn down the bit depth. Not that interesting, surprisingly. Other than holy cow, it'll distort it 1 bit. Makes sense. I'm not actually sure what aliasing does. Let us try pitching this. Curiosity's sake, just to see what the sample does at different pitches here. We'll go into CVA, A, and we're already in through mode. We need part 1. Of course. Reminds me of like the choir mode on the Big Sky. What does Super Ego pick up with that? Not much. Still, that's quite interesting. Wish I could, if I could get Super Ego to pick up a decent pad. It's gonna be too unfiltered. But I could see this being a very good basis for a darker sounding track. So maybe I will re-record that. Let's see, because if I'm re-recording it, I'm not going to get the full reverb, so it'll sound more like this. Which is still cool. So this has been a bit, by the way, a reminder. This was us playing plats in that weird Formant mode, where it was, I think it was in the colors mode. I don't remember which color it was saying, maybe orange or something like that. Went through this weird Rainmaker preset called Transform. We recorded that, and now we're playing it back through a filter, through shimmer reverb on Milky Way, and then out. Pitched quite far down now, actually, so. Yeah, because so if I recorded this, then I could replay it back through a delay and make it even more of a pad sound. So yeah, let's maybe do that. Okay, so if we're going to do that, we need to pull out of here. We need to go into the sampling inputs. I'm just gonna steal this so it doesn't fall into my case. This is definitely something I need to do more of, is this sample capturing, so that I have a whole bank of sounds that I can start working with that I know I've generated before, and just use 2 assimilator outs or even 1 assimilator out for it, rather than a whole complex patch. I mean, it means that I can't tweak them as much, but I can still send them through effects and filters and stuff like that if I wanted to. Okay, we're going in. We're going to sample this to channel. We've already used 1, 2, 3, and 4, so we'll use 5 and 6. We've already got quite a low threshold set. That's good. We're recording in stereo. That's good. Just arm it and go. Yes. All right. You're done sampling. Okay. So. Back to the channels. We got 5 and 6 here. See what it sounds like first. It sounds like nothing because we're not connected. That would help. Okay, we'll go 1 shot, not gated. It didn't quite record properly. It missed out on the very beginning of the sound. I think the threshold was set a little too high. Okay, so now we got signal path again. We're going out from the sample, through everything back into the recording. Okay, so we'll go to sampling setup. We'll still use channel 5 because we're going to overwrite it. We're going to turn the threshold as far down as it'll go, because we have pretty much silence before we start recording this. And then we're going to channel 5, so that's good. Arm. That was not good. We'll erase that one. We will instead turn the threshold up just a hair, because we apparently have a little bit of noise in it. We'll try minus 50 dB. Nope, still not enough. Minus 45 dB. Not enough. Minus 40 dB. Good. All right. Here we go. Didn't quite capture the start, but it still was better. Okay, so now we got that in channel 5. And we'll reroute. See what we get. 1-shot mode still. That's better. Captured more of the beginning. Does it still sound as good through the reverb? I almost feel like it lost something. Not sure what, but like... so... can we A-B this? Yeah, sort of. It requires a little repatching, but this would go here. These would go into 7. This was the sound as it was played originally. Oh, we're also not sending through the right reverb, but... so that's as it was played through the modules live. And then this is as recorded through the modules. Yeah, pretty nostalgic. Sweet. Sweet. Okay, alright, so now we can pull these patch cables because we're good in that respect. This has been quite a successful little session for coming up with interesting sounds. We got our little guitar chord. We got the... we got that raw sound, which was interesting on its own, and I feel like we could do multiple things with that sound. And then we've got, which is the highly filtered, reverbed, etc. version of that sound. So now I want a delay for the sound that we were just playing there. I'm just going to switch the gate so that we're playing it now. So let's use Rainmaker. There's a big pad sound like this would be great with it, I think. Okay. Obviously not that same preset though, and probably not dry, fully wet. Just start with a very simple one tap and just see what we sort of get out of it. Because now we're taking a reverb sound, delaying it, sending it in here, and then it also goes out to another reverb. Interesting. Okay. Well, ping pong, it should maybe widen it a little more. Let's try again. Take the reverb out of the equation. And now with wet. I'm not sure about that one. There's another one here though that I like, which is Panner. See what that does. Use one of the really weird ones. Vocal thick. Interesting. Surprising that's not using the comb filter. Oh, I like this though. This would need a little bit of tweaking, but this is nice. I like that it never fully fades, so you get a... As long as you keep triggering it on the regular, you get a sort of wave. Which is the routing unless it's delay into comb. Okay. I think we try other comb patterns. I liked it in the original, this one, this reverse Fibonacci. Yeah, because then if you modulate this, let's see if I can do that. Let's comb size that I'm modulating. Comb size. Can I do comb size? Green size. Oh wait, I don't need a mod one. There's a dedicated thing for that. So let's put a just put an LFO in there for now and see, because I don't know if you probably heard that it was generating some really interesting harmonics that had all sorts of weird sounds to it. Really neat. It would be really neat as a drone. So. It's a little abrupt in spots, but let's try random. Bit of random season. The size from this, make it a little bit more frequent. It needs to be slewed. It needs to be slewed for sure. Longer slew. There's a certain point on that comb feedback that it catches and does something. What much? much slower with a very long slew. I think with enough tuning of the CV values there, I could find where that point is, where it kind of catches, and avoid that. Because if I can, this makes it very smooth. Very interesting. Yeah, like listen to that, just like random harmonics thing. Oh, that's cool. It's not particularly tonal, but for a drone track, this could be a very, very nice sound. Very cool. Even when you leave it, it starts to sound interesting because it just modulates the comb in the background. Now, one more thing I'd like to try before I probably have to get going is let's take this sound and let's mult it, and let's go one side into the axis on the A side for crossfading, one side through the Rainmaker into the B side. Well, actually, I guess that's really just equivalent of the dry-wet, of the dry-wet signal. Yeah, maybe that's not as good an idea as I thought. I was going to see if I could fade it in and out, but I essentially can. But I guess the difference is that I lose the original signal, and I want to still maintain some of it. So, all right, let's try this. So we'll take this. It's too long cables, I know, but we'll mult it out. I don't think these will be long enough, but maybe. Oh yeah, okay. So one side will go into here, into the Rainmaker. Rainmaker will come out into side B of one of our crossfaders, and then we'll take another set. Go into side A. Now the other thing that might be interesting about this is if we crossfade them. So if one side of the crossfade has the left and right channels swapped, might make an interesting phasing effect. But let's try not to do that right off the bat first. So red is left, this is left, black is left. Okay, so in this case, this is left. We'll swap them in a minute here and see what that sounds like. But okay, so right, we need to go out into a channel. That would be helpful. There we go. Go and into channel 7. Okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now, let's swap the channels. I don't know what this is going to do, if anything. Let's just see. If anything, it actually drops some of the stereo-ness Yeah, that's not as cool as I thought it was going to be. I don't really know a huge amount about phasing, but... That works pretty good, actually, using it through the crossfader, because then you can guaranteedly always get some of the dry signal while actually adding wet when you have this at halfway wet dry anyway. Okay, so that was actually pretty successful. Came up with a few pretty decent sounds out of that. Let me make sure before I forget, because I always do. You save. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it here because I got a couple other things to get done today. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and cross your fingers for me that by next Wednesday's stream, I'll at least have the TET. I don't know if I'll be ready to do a full demo video on it, but if I have it, I'm going to be using it for sure because I've been waiting for that forever. So, let's see for a few of you who are watching if there is anyone else on and around. I think maybe Dan Kushner is around, but let's see. Nope, he's offline now too. So I will just leave you with that. We'll see you all on Wednesday. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll play you out on this.